Part 63. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Dit. Chapter 621. 2 hours later, Afra had already left the Red Flame Plain quite far away. Ye Chen stayed in Afra's space treasure and practiced quietly. Some other strong men in the Bright Plain were not far from Ye Chen. 5 9-star strong men, plus Afra, there are 6 9-star strong men. Ye Chen thought to himself. Among the 5 9-star strong men, one was in the late 9-star stage, the other 4 were in the middle 9-star stage, and 2 were in the early 9-star stage. There are still many 7 and 8-star strong men. Such strength is already quite strong. After all, there is Afra, a 9-star perfect strong man. No, there may be another Shadowless Heavenly Venerable. Shadowless Heavenly Venerable is also in the late 9-star stage, but he is not a strong man in the Bright Plain. Ye Chen thought to himself. Should I deal with Afra directly, or with the guy in the late 9-star stage? After considering for a long time, Ye Chen still planned to kill the guy in the late 9-star stage directly. It is unlikely to kill Afra directly. Even if her strength is reduced, she may still have the strength of 9-star perfection by using forbidden techniques or powerful trump cards. Die. After making up his mind, Ye Chen attacked instantly. Xuanhuan Immortal City, Tongtian Sword Bamboo, and the 9-star Peak Pure World Sunflower also attacked. Ye Chen's system also burst out with the 9-star Perfect Death Power. 4 9-star perfect attacks and 1 9-star peak attack were aimed at only a 9-star late-stage strongman, and the other party was not fully alert. There is no second ending at all. In an instant, this 9-star late-stage strongman in the light plane was wiped out. Not good. Afra did not pay attention to the situation in the space treasure all the time, but she noticed such a big movement at the first time. Ye Chen and his men still attacked first. Ye Chen and his men were so powerful that even if Afra had a 9-star perfect cultivation, she could not rescue them in time. Enemy attack. Inside the space treasure, the other strongmen in the light plane also reacted. He is not Emperor Lei Yuan, he is Ye Chen. Afra was terrified. At the same time, she sent a message to the other strongmen in the light plane in her space treasure. Come out. Afra's powerful force tried to drive Ye Chen out of her space treasure, so that she could escape with the other strong men in the light plane. However, how easy is it? Ye Chen resisted himself, and Xuanhuan Immortal City and Tongtian Sword Bamboo provided Ye Chen with powerful power. Come out. Afra tried to get the strong men in the light plane to go outside. However, she only let the 7 or 8-star level strong men in the light plane go outside, and 4 9-star level strong men were trapped by the Xuxian sword formation. Go out. Boom. The 4 9-star level strong men were terrified, and they fought desperately. However, in a short time, they were no longer facing only the siege of the Xuxian sword formation. Xuanhuan Immortal City, Tongtian Sword Bamboo, and Pure World Sunflower also provided extremely powerful power to the 4 9-star strong men. Even if the 4 of them used forbidden techniques, the 2 middle-level 9-star warriors among them only had the power of the late 9-star, much weaker than Ye Chen and his men. Afra was extremely entangled. If she abandoned these 4 9-star warriors and took the rest of the strong men from the light plane away, she could do it. But these 4 9-star warriors would definitely die. If she didn't leave and took those 7 and 8-star level strong men to help, she might be able to save people, or she might fall into it herself. Ye Chen, if you kill them, Luo Hongjian and the others will die too. Afra's voice rang in Ye Chen's mind. She gave up her space treasure and fled away instantly. Even if she stayed, Afra felt that she couldn't beat Ye Chen and his men, and maybe Ye Chen and his men had hidden a lot of strength. The possibility of failure was higher. As long as she could catch Luo Hongjian and the others, Afra believed that Ye Chen should not dare to kill their strong men from the light plane wantonly. Run. Can you run away? Ye Chen's eyes flashed, he went outside the space treasure and chased after Afra at a high speed. Xuanhuan Immortal City, Tongtian Sword Bamboo, and Pure World Sunflower were still besieging the 4 9-star powerhouses of the Bright Plain. Afra has given up on you, she is escaping. If you surrender, you may still live, but if you continue to resist, you will die. Emperor Liwen has surrendered now. Ye Chen's voice rang in the minds of the 4 9-star powerhouses of the Bright Plain. At the same time, Emperor Liwen also sent a message to them, persuading them to surrender. Afra actually escaped, and Emperor Liwen had already surrendered. This was a huge blow to the 4 9-star powerhouses of the Bright Plain. 4 of you, you have such strength only when you use forbidden techniques. But even if you use forbidden techniques, your strength is not as good. What is the point of your persistence? Ye Chen said in a calm voice. I will give you 3 breaths of time. If you all surrender within 3 breaths, you can live. If not all surrender, the last one to surrender will die. If one of the 4 dies, the chance of death is not low. In addition, the strength of Ye Chen and his team brought great pressure to the 4 9-star masters of the Light Plane. Before the 3 breaths of time were up, they secretly discussed and chose to surrender. If they surrendered, Afra escaped, and Luo Hanjian and the others were caught at that time, they knew that they would most likely be traded back. Resist to the end, and you will die. Huh. Ye Chen secretly breathed a sigh of relief. He continued to chase Afra at full speed. Xuanhuan Immortal City and Tongtian Sword Bamboo all provided Ye Chen with power, making him faster. Damn it! Afra cursed in her heart. She used a special treasure, which made her speed much faster than her peak time, but she still couldn't get rid of it. Liwen Emperor, use the system to attack, target, Afra. Ye Chen's voice sounded in Liwen Emperor's mind. On the way here, Ye Chen asked Liwen Emperor to practice in the time cube. The 200 million times time acceleration allowed Liwen Emperor's system to recover. Okay. Liwen Emperor nodded. He felt a strong force entering his body. The restrictions in his body were eliminated and his strength was restored. But even so, Liwen Emperor did not dare to attack Ye Chen. With the strength shown by Ye Chen, it was almost impossible to kill Ye Chen. As long as he did this, he would die. Emperor Lei Yuan, whether you live or die depends on your own choice. Don't let me down. Ye Chen said calmly. Emperor Lei Yuan felt 3 vague forces locking him. If he dared to mess around, he would be hit by a terrifying blow immediately. Yes. Emperor Lei Yuan took a deep breath and said. His system attack power is 9 stars perfect. If he uses the system to attack Afra, he will definitely break away from the Light Plane in the future, but he can only attack. Kill. Emperor Lei Yuan soon used the attack power of the system. His is the Thunder system. Boom. Afra was not far away from Ye Chen. She was moving at full speed, and her breath was leaking. It was easy for Emperor Lei Yuan's system to sense her. The system attack came at a high speed. No. Afra's face changed wildly. If Ye Chen attacked, she would not be afraid. The distance was not very close, and the power of Ye Chen's attack would be reduced a lot. And Ye Chen's attack would affect the speed. System attacks are different. The strength of system attacks may be similar to Ye Chen's full strength attack, but system attacks are faster and can ignore defense. It's over. Afra tried her best to resist, but a lot of thunder power still entered her body. Her body and strength were greatly affected, and her speed was significantly reduced. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Did. Chapter 622. Ye Chen quickly approached, and Afra used the forbidden technique to escape frantically. However, the thunder power in her body has not been eliminated, and it is still causing harm to her. The distance between Ye Chen and her gradually narrowed. Afra, you have the Lord of Light behind you. I will definitely not kill you for the time being. The Lord of Light may redeem you then. If you continue to run away, there's no point except aggravating your injuries. Ye Chen's voice sounded in Afra's mind. Afra's face looked extremely ugly. She is a woman of the Lord of Light, and being captured alive by others is a great shame for both her and the Lord of Light. But asking her to commit suicide, she really couldn't do it. Come out. Afra asked the shadowless Heavenly Lord who was practicing in his time treasure to come outside. Shadowless Heavenly Lord used the forbidden technique. He ran away as fast as he could in the other direction. Ye Chen, that is Shadowless Heavenly Lord. He has basically adapted to the environment of the red flame plane. If you want to catch me, why don't you catch him directly? Afra sent a message to Ye Chen. If Ye Chen goes after Wu Ying Tianzun, she can take the opportunity to escape. Boom. Boom. Ye Chen, Xuanhuan Eternal City, Tongtian Sword Bamboo, and Purifying Sunflower all erupted with terrifying auras. Shadowless Heavenly Lord, you have adapted to the environment of the red flame plane. Now you have two choices. First, surrender. I will not pursue you further. I swear on my soul that I will definitely release you within 100 years. Second, I will hunt you down and you will die. Then I will target the plane you are on, and everyone related to you will die. Ye Chen's voice sounded in Wu Ying Tianzun's mind. Yanhuang Immortal City, Skybreaking Sword Bamboo, and Purifying Sunflower are all extremely powerful, but they are not suitable for chasing down enemies and are slow. If Shadowless Heavenly Lord continues to escape, he can only choose between Shadowless Heavenly Lord and Afra, and he will choose Shadowless Heavenly Lord. Even if Afra escapes, her strength will definitely drop, and it will take a lot of time to recover. If Shadowless Heavenly Lord escapes, he can easily help powerful people from the light plane or other planes enter the red flame plane in the future. In the blink of an eye, Wu Ying Tianzun thought a lot. Then he stopped. The auras that Ye Chen and the others burst out were too strong. Besides, Ye Chen had promised to let him go within 100 years, so there was no need for him to take huge risks to fight for Afra's chance. Receive. Shadowless Heavenly Lord did not resist. Ye Chen's power extended over, and it was easy to receive Shadowless Heavenly Lord into Yanhuang Eternal City. Damn it! Afra cursed inwardly. Shadowless Heavenly Lord was caught by Ye Chen, and Ye Chen continued to chase her. Afra knew that she had no chance, and she would definitely be caught. Ye Chen, I surrender. Afra said. She stopped moving, there was no point. She is destined to be caught, and the longer she escapes, the longer she takes to use the forbidden technique, and the more severe the damage to her body from the thunder power in her body. Receive. Soon Afra was also taken to Yanhuang Eternal City by Ye Chen. The 7 or 8-star immortal level experts in Afra's space treasure have already escaped. During the process of escaping, Afra let them disperse and escape. Ye Chen didn't chase them. They are just small fish. Grass. An 8-star strong man in the light plane cursed in his heart. He had just received a message from Afra, and Afra bluntly said that he would be caught soon. We have to rush to the red flame plane as soon as possible. You have to tell the news to the Holy Word Supreme. This strong man from the light plane secretly thought in his heart. He has a communication system. He does not need to go to the red flame plane. He only needs to get closer. He can use the system to contact the Holy Word Supreme. However, he was not sure whether he could contact the Holy Word Supreme before Ye Chen rushed over. Burning Soul. White flames ignited on the body of this strong man from the light plane, and he used forbidden techniques. It will be faster. Who among the 7 or 8-star experts who came with you has a communication system? Ye Chen asked the 4 9-star immortal powerhouses who were captured. They don't make a sound. With a thought, Ye Chen asked Afra to come to the side. Speak, or I will strip you of all your clothes and let you stay with Afra. Of course, Afra will also strip off all her clothes. Ye Chen said calmly. If you don't tell me, maybe you are expecting this. Afra's expression changed, and the expressions of the 4 9-star immortal level experts also changed. Ye Chen is not a martial artist. You send a message to me. Whoever doesn't say anything will do good things. Ye Chen said softly. The 4 9-star immortal level experts quickly sent messages to Ye Chen. Among those 7 or 8-star immortal level experts, one really has a very good communication system. Call. Ye Chen used the system's summoning power. The opponent is not far away from him now, and he only has 8-star immortal level cultivation. With the ability of Ye Chen's system, he can definitely summon him. The strong man who had just used the forbidden technique to advance was dumbfounded. He was actually summoned directly by Ye Chen. You still want to use the forbidden technique to drive at full speed and go over there to report the news? Ye Chen said softly. He said and killed this guy with one sword strike. Afra and the others felt chills in their hearts. Ye Chen is not afraid of completely offending their light plane. Everyone, I hope we can communicate more smoothly in the future. Otherwise this is the end. Ye Chen said in a calm voice. After dealing with this 8-star strongman with a system, Ye Chen went outside. He quickly rushed to the red flame plane. 2 hours later, Ye Chen arrived. Xuanhuan Supreme and the others were still there. They didn't know the situation of Afra and the others at all. In the eyes of Xuanhuan Supreme, Afra's 9-star perfect level of cultivation, plus Wu Ying Tianzun, and 9 9-star strongmen around him, what can go wrong? Brother Xuanhuan, I heard that it is good to come and help. Do you need more people? Ye Chen approached and said, he revealed the aura of the middle stage of the 9 stars. A strong man with such strength is easy to be valued by Xuanhuan Supreme and others, and at the same time, it will not make Xuanhuan Supreme very afraid. Daiyu, you still need it? May I ask your name? Xuanhuan Supreme said with a smile. His strength at the peak of the 9 stars is much stronger, but he can't neglect the strong man in the middle stage of the 9 stars. Many of the strong men from other planes came to help, but they were not yet in the middle stage of the 9-star level. I won't mention their names. The strength of the red flame plane is not weak either, they just came here to get some benefits. Ye Chen said in a calm voice. Saint Word Supreme nodded slightly. There were many anonymous people like Ye Chen. Of course, there were also strong men who were not anonymous. They did not just come here to get benefits, they mainly wanted to curry favor with the bright plane. After all, the bright plane ranked 3rd. Brother Xuanhuan, there are only 5 9-star immortal level strong men in your bright plane? This seems to be different from the information I got. Can you take them down? Ye Chen said with some doubt. Fellow deist, you don't have to doubt the strength of our bright plane. Another strong man from the bright plane came over. This strong man was in the late stage of the 9-star level. He and Saint Word Supreme were the strongest here. Ye Chen's eyes flashed with brilliance. If there were no strong men from other planes here, he would have no problem dealing with the strong men from the bright plane here. But there are many strong men in other planes, and he can't give the strong men in other planes a chance to participate. Brother Xuanhuan, why don't you enter the red flame plane and take a look? Ye Chen's voice sounded. The next second, he and Yanhuang Immortal City, Tongtian Sword Bamboo, and Pure World Sunflower's powerful power enveloped Xuanhuan Supreme and the late 9-star strong man. Ye Chen led Xuanhuan Supreme and others to rush to the red flame plane at a high speed. Not good. Xuanhuan Supreme and others were shocked. The other strong men in the bright plane were also shocked. But the distance was very close, and Ye Chen and others were very strong. Xuanhuan Supreme and others could not get rid of them immediately, and the other strong men were too late to help. In the blink of an eye, Ye Chen and Xuanhuan Supreme and others disappeared. Many strong men in other planes were dumbfounded. He is Ye Chen. A strong man in the bright plane said in horror. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Di. Chapter 623. Just now there seemed to be 3 9-star perfection levels of power, and 1 9-star peak level power. Yes, I feel it too. Isn't Ye Chen in the abyss plane? Emperor Lei Yuan also said that he surrounded Theodore and the others. What's going on? Many powerful people in other planes were talking about it. There were 3 9-star powerhouses from the light plane present, and their faces were extremely ugly. A few hours ago, Emperor Lei Yuan came over and called Afra and the others away. Now Ye Chen comes over. Is this a coincidence? If not, it means that Emperor Lei Yuan is probably a fake. No, Taoist brother Shenjun succeeded in sending a message to Emperor Lei Yuan, which means Emperor Lei Yuan is nearby. Could it be? The strong man in the light plane thought of a terrible possibility. Emperor Lei Yuan has been captured by Ye Chen. With the strength that Ye Chen had just shown, it was not impossible to win the Emperor Lei Yuan. Everyone, let's stop thinking so much and retreat quickly. Yes, Ye Chen has taken down Taoist brother Shenjun and the others, and they may be outside soon. The strong men from the light plane fled as fast as possible. Let's go too. All the strong men from the light plane have left. Why don't we still wait here for Ye Chen to come out and target us later? The strong men from other planes quickly left. A few minutes later, Ye Chen arrived outside the Qian plane. It runs pretty fast. Ye Chen muttered. If the strong man from the light plane hasn't left yet, he won't be polite. After the Holy Word Supreme and another late 9-star powerhouse were brought to the Red Flame plane by him, the powerhouses from the other planes would definitely not dare to help. Listen to the strong men from other planes. The plane of light is powerful. In the future, I will not care if you help the plane of light target our plane of red flames. Now you all know that I possess the 9-star perfect level of strength. If you still take action, it will be a great provocation to me. I will never be polite when I arrive. Ye Chen's voice spread far away. Some of the strong men in other planes are not very strong and have not gone very far. They heard Ye Chen's voice. It seems that Ye Chen really has a 10-star system. Even if he has a 10-star system, with his current strength, it would be extremely difficult to get the system from him. Many strong men who did not hear Ye Chen's voice also received the news from the other strong men. Many of them quickly gave up the idea of targeting the Red Flame plane again. Emperor Lei Yuan appeared and deceived Afra and the others. This situation is not good. Either Emperor Lei Yuan was captured by Ye Chen, or the Abyss plane cooperated with Ye Chen. What should we do? The 3 9-star powerhouses from the light plane were relieved after escaping far away. They were extremely powerful, but they were also at a loss. The Holy Word Supreme and the others were brought to the Red Flame plane. Needless to say, they would definitely be captured by Ye Chen and the others. Afra and the others were deceived. What happened? Theodore and the others are in the abyss. Has anything happened to them? Let's split into 2 groups and go all the way to the abyss plane to see what's going on with Lord Afra and Lord Theodore. Go back to the light plane the other way and inform the master of the current situation. The strong men from the light plane discussed a result. On Ye Chen's side, he returned to the Red Flame plane. Husband. Luo Hanjian monitored the entire Xian plane, and she immediately judged Ye Chen's position. She, and Langxiu and the others arrived at Ye Chen's side. Wives, I'm back. Ye Chen said with an excited expression. Luo Hanjian and the others missed him very much. Why didn't he miss Luo Hanjian and the others? Husband, you came in just now and disappeared again. Luo Hanjian said. Ye Chen smiled and said, I just brought 2 guys from the light plane in. There are still others outside. I want to capture a few more of them outside. And they ran away. Ye Chen said, opening his arms and hugging Luo Hongjian first. The next second, Ye Chen kissed him. Receive. He hugged and kissed Luo Hongjian and the others, and then Ye Chen took Luo Hongjian and the others into the time cube. He accelerated the time cube to 1,000,000 times. In this way, even if it takes a long time inside the time cube, the time that passes in the outside world is also very short. It's been a long time since we last saw each other, and we miss each other so much. Naturally, all our thoughts were integrated into the battle, and a melee lasted for most of the day. Not bad, not bad, my cultivation level is high, my waist is good, my kidneys are good, I can bear it. Husband, why are you back now? Husband, aren't there many strong people outside? Husband, what is your current strength? After the battle was over, Luo Hongjian and the others had time to ask questions, and questions popped up one by one. Ye Chen smiled and said, wives, I am now at the mid 9-star cultivation level and have the 9-star perfect level of combat power. In the light plane, including Afra, I have captured several 9-star strong men. The Shadowless Heavenly Lord, who has a powerful concealment system, has now been captured by me. The Thunder Abyss Emperor and the Deep Sky Supreme have surrendered. Luo Hongjian and the others looked at Ye Chen in disbelief. They knew that Afra was a 9-star perfection level expert. Although Emperor Lei Yuan does not have the 9-star perfection level, he does have the 9-star peak level and can explode into 9-star perfection level strength. Husband, please explain in detail. Luo Hongjian said. Ye Chen smiled and said, how about I pass on the memories of these years to you directly? No, we want to hear it from your own mouth. That's right. Luo Hongjian and the others said quickly. Although it was convenient and accurate to directly pass on the relevant information to them, they preferred Ye Chen to speak to them slowly. More feeling. Good. When Ye Chen talked to Luo Hongjian and the others, he naturally also talked about the Yanhuang Plain and the circumstances of his return home this time. Luo Hongjian and the others showed anticipation in their eyes. I don't know when I can follow Ye Chen home. They knew that Ye Chen was reincarnated. In this life, his parents died when he was a child, and their relationship was not particularly deep. The relationship between his parents in the previous life was much deeper. After talking for 2 hours, Ye Chen finally finished talking to Luo Hongjian and the others. Luo Hongjian said, husband, now that you have captured a total of 7 9-star immortal level experts from the light plane, the Lord of Light will definitely be alarmed. If the news spreads to the Abyss Plane, Theodore and the others will come and kill them. The light plane will definitely make a comeback. Ye Chen said, even if they make a comeback, they will have to find someone with a powerful concealment system, and they will have to spend time adapting. I guess their next focus will be on the Yanhuang Plain. Luo Hongjian and the others had doubts in their eyes. Ye Chen said, I forgot to mention something just now. The Yanhuang Plain has changed a lot, and the plane rankings will inevitably be updated. Then the strong men in the other planes will know that the ranking of the Yanhuang Plain has been greatly improved. The Lord of Light will definitely know about my relationship with the Yanhuang Plain. Luo Hongjian said, husband, will the ranking be updated soon? Well, it will be updated in more than half a year. Ye Chen said. Luo Hongjian and the others had a sad look in their eyes. No wonder Ye Chen wanted to accompany them as time accelerated. Ye Chen would probably have to leave again soon. Hongjian, don't do this. Don't forget that Afra is in my hands now. I should be able to get the fragment of the Yanhuang Plain from the Lord of Light. After getting that fragment, I will get all the fragments of the Yanhuang Plain. Then we can merge the Yanhuang Plain and the Red Flame Plain. A passage can be opened between the two planes. Ye Chen smiled. Luo Hongjian frowned slightly, husband, there is a problem with this. Many strong people in the light plane have adapted to the environment of the Yanhuang Plain. If they are merged, the strong men from the light plane will be much stronger when they enter the red flame plane than they are now when they enter the red flame plane. Yachen nodded slightly. Such a situation would indeed happen. But now that he has 9-star perfection level strength, he is afraid of a hammer. The abyss plane is already disabled, and now the only opponent is the light plane. Afra and many other strong men are in his hands, and now he is the one taking the initiative. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Di. Chapter 624. Yachen smiled and said, Hanjian, even if that happens, the strength of the Lord of Light will still be greatly suppressed when they enter the red flame plane. As long as we don't enter the light plane, we are not afraid of them. Luo Hanjian and the others nodded. There was joy in their eyes. After enduring for so long, they finally recovered a lot from the absolute disadvantage. Although it cannot be said that their strength is stronger than that of the light plane, it is not easy for the light plane to defeat them. By the way, Afra and Emperor Liwen have 9-star systems. Their systems are for 2 of you. Yachen smiled. Luo Hanjian said, Husband, I already have a 9-star life system, I can't use it. I can't use it either. En Langxiu said. She has a 9-star enhancement system, which is also a top system. Yachen nodded slightly, and his eyes fell on Lu Qianqian. Qianqian, your defense system is not suitable for your cultivation now. How about you change to Afra's system? Afra has a holy light defense system, which is similar to your original system, but more powerful. Afra's holy light defense system can provide defense for herself and others. Although it does not have an absolute defense effect, it is a 9-star defense system after all, and the effect is quite good. When Afra escaped before, she did not expect to be attacked by a powerful system. If the system defense is used, the damage to her from the attack of Emperor Liwen's system will be much lower. Husband, listen to you. Lu Qianqian said gently. Yachen's eyes swept over Zi Lanyan, Luo Yudi, Shang Guanyan, and the other 3 women. The 3 of them have 8-star systems, which is not bad. But now they have the strength of the early 9-star level, and the 8-star system is a bit useless. The system of Emperor Liwen is the Thunder system, which is an attack system. Who wants it? Luo Yudi and Shang Guanyan both looked at Zi Lanyan. Yachen smiled and said, Lanyan, it seems that Chang'e and Yan'er think you are suitable, so you can get this system. You are a Thunder attribute, and the Thunder system is indeed more suitable for you. Zi Lanyan nodded. Okay, husband. She didn't push it too much, there was no need. Although Luo Yudi and Shang Guanyan have not yet obtained the 9-star system, Yachen will definitely arrange it for them in the future. They are a family. Whoever is stronger will contribute more to this family. First, get the system from Afra and the others. Yachen smiled. The next second he came to Afra. Afra, your holy light defense system, I want it, is there any problem? Afra was so depressed that she wanted to vomit blood. They came here to get Yachen's 10-star system, but they didn't get the 10-star system, and their own system had to be included. What if I refuse? Afra said coldly. Yachen said with a smile, if you refuse, the other strong men in your bright plane may be very happy. You are very beautiful. Despicable. Afra gnashed her teeth. Pa. Yachen's face turned cold and he slapped Afra's face heavily. He sneered, invaders are not qualified to say such things. You'd better be obedient, otherwise I will sell you to a brothel. Afra. She looked at Yachen angrily. Yachen dared to slap her. I don't like the look in your eyes now. Yachen said indifferently. Pa. Pa. Yachen slapped Afra's face one by one. Soon Yachen slapped more than a dozen. Afra was extremely angry. But she could only hold it back. She even squeezed a little smile on her face. That's more like it. You have to know that you are now a prisoner. Ye Chen said indifferently. Afra suppressed her anger and began to remove the recognition of her system. Afra's system also cooperated with this. It knew that Ye Chen had a 10-star immortal system. If it cooperated, it should be able to become Ye Chen's woman's system, which is not bad. If it doesn't cooperate, it may be a dead end. Under the 100 million times time acceleration, it didn't take long for Afra's system to solve the recognition of the master in the outside world. At about the same time, Emperor Lei Yuan also solved the recognition of the master of his system. Since Emperor Lei Yuan was captured by Ye Chen, he knew that his system would definitely not be saved. Qian, Lanyan, hurry up and let the system recognize the master. Ye Chen smiled. He let his system also warn the two systems that had removed the recognition of the master. Lu Qian said, "Husband, how should our system arrange them?" "Husband, don't swallow our original system, okay?" Zi Lanyan also said. Ye Chen nodded and smiled, "Don't worry, let them rest for now. If they want to recognize a master, we will find a good candidate for them. You can also leave it to our future children." Lu Qian, Zi Lanyan's eyes lit up, "This is okay. They will definitely have children in the future. When the child's cultivation is not high, there is no need for a top-notch system. The system they replaced is already very good." "Husband, thank you." "Husband, it's settled." Lu Qian and Zi Lanyan said. Ye Chen nodded, "Seize the time to practice and complete the recognition of the master as soon as possible." "Aha." Lu Qian and the others nodded. The identification of the owner of the new system was much smoother than Ye Chen expected. Ye Chen arranged for Lu Qian and the others to accelerate their time by 1,000,000,000 times. It took a few days for the external system to initially recognize the owner. After the system recognized the master, Lu Qian and the others stopped practicing. Now they don't really want to practice, they just want to spend more time with Ye Chen. "My daughter is already so old." After spending a lot of time with Luo Hongjian and the others as time accelerated, Ye Chen, Luo Hongjian and the others returned to July Universe together and met with the master of Xiao Palace and the others. Nanan looks to be 17 or 18 years old. Actual age is more than that. However, she spends more time practicing, and her mental age may be a little younger than that of 17 or 18 years old. "Brother-in-law, did you bring me a gift?" Nanan smiled sweetly. "Of course I brought it." Ye Chen smiled and took out a bracelet as a gift for his daughter. "This bracelet is a good defensive treasure." "Thank you, brother-in-law." "Brother-in-law, how about I marry you in the future too?" Nanan giggled. In an instant, Ye Chen felt several eyes falling on him. The master of Xiao Palace, concubine Shu. Luo Hongjian, Zi Lanyan, Luo Yudi. "Nanny, if you keep talking nonsense, I won't give you any gifts in the future." Ye Chen said angrily. The two sisters Zi Lanyan and Luo Yudi are very good looking, and Nanan is naturally good looking, but in Ye Chen's eyes, she is just a child. "Hee, brother-in-law, I was joking with you. Look at how nervous you are." Nanan smiled sweetly. Zi Lanyan and Luo Yudi rushed forward. "My sister needs to be taught a lesson for being so naughty." As time speeds up, Ye Chen has been with Luo Hongjian and the others for a long time. Naturally, he will not stay in the Yanhuang Plain for too long. In 10 days and a half, Ye Chen was ready to leave. He still has to rush to the Yanhuang Plain. In a little more than half a year, the plain rankings of the Yanhuang Plain will be exposed. Before that, he has to bring back the Pangu Axe and the Jade Disc of Creation. Pangu Hongjun and the others had to be allowed to adapt. "Fellow Daoist Xianqing, I am going to the Yanhuang Plain. Do you want to go back to the Yanhuang Plain?" Ye Chen arrived at Xianqing Supreme. "Is that okay?" Supreme Xianqing said with a trembling voice. He naturally wants to return to the Yanhuang Plain. Ye Chen said, the next focus of the light plane may be transferred to the Yanhuang plane. It will be in danger if you go back. You have to think about this clearly. The red flame plane will be much safer in the future. Supreme Xianqing said in a deep voice, I had no choice but to leave back then. Now that the Yanhuang plane is in danger, I naturally have to go back. I have to die there. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Di. Chapter 625. It is a long distance from the red flame plane to the Yanhuang plane, but with Ye Chen's current 9-star perfection level strength, it will take less than half a year for Ye Chen to arrive. I'm back, I'm finally back. Ye Chen asked Supreme Xianqing to go outside the space treasure. Supreme Xianqing looked at the Yanhuang plane in front of him and was extremely excited. Fellow deist Ye Chen, when it was at its peak, the Yanhuang plane was much stronger than it is now. The Yanhuang plane was dozens of times bigger. Supreme Xianqing sighed lightly. Ye Chen said, the current ranking of the Yanhuang plane is low, and the plane gains less power, so it will naturally be very weak. When the Yanhuang plane's ranking improves, the Yanhuang plane will continue to become stronger. Supreme Xianqing nodded slightly, fellow Taoist Ye Chen, thank you. Ye Chen shook his head, this is not just my contribution. If there were not the sacrifices of a large number of powerful people in the Yanhuang plane back then, how could there be a heart of Yanhuang? Without the Yanhuang heart, a 10-star immortal system, it would be impossible for him to reach his current heights. It's useless even if Ye Chen gets a top-notch 9-star system. With only that kind of system, he may not be able to beat Tegumen. Ye Chen knew that his success was based on standing on the shoulders of his predecessors, and it was his unshirkable responsibility to revitalize the Yanhuang plane. Fellow deist Xianqing, let's go there. Ye Chen said. Supreme Xianqing nodded, and he followed Ye Chen and flew into the Yanhuang plane. Receive. Ye Chen still let Supreme Xianqing get to the treasure in his own space first. Otherwise, even if they enter the Yanhuang plane at the same place, they may end up in two places far apart. Entering the Yanhuang plane, Ye Chen's eyes lit up. He felt that his strength had increased in the Yanhuang plane. Although it was not a lot, it was twice as much. With twice the increase, Ye Chen alone could equal 3 of his original selves. He originally had a 9-star perfection level of strength, but now he alone is equivalent to 3 9-star perfection experts. Delightful. It seems that the fusion of plane tokens still has a good effect. Ye Chen secretly thought. The entire plane token has 9 fragments. Now that Ye Chen has fused 8 of them, it will naturally have an effect. Being able to get an increase shows that Ye Chen has been recognized by the plane, and he has become the master of the Yanhuang plane. It's a pity that the Yanhuang plane is not strong enough now, otherwise even if 1 fragment is missing, the increase will not be only twice as much. Tegumen originally lacked several plane fragments, but his strength in the red flame plane can be increased 5 times. Fellow deist Xianqing, how are you doing? Ye Chen said via voice transmission. Supreme Xianqing took a deep breath and said, fellow Taoist Ye Chen, I have been away for too long, and my strength has been somewhat suppressed when I came back. But it's not a big problem. If I get used to it a little, I can fully unleash my strength in the Yanhuang plane. In the red flame plane, Supreme Xianqing also enjoyed a 100 million times acceleration of time, and also gained a lot of cultivation resources. On the way here, he also enjoyed an acceleration of time 200 million times, and Ye Chen gave him an 8-star perfection level treasure. Nowadays, Supreme Xuanqing's cultivation level is 7-star perfection, and his combat power has reached the mid 8-star level, which is already quite good. Before Supreme Xianqing, he never thought that he could achieve such strength. Even in the abyssal plane, Supreme Xianqing is now considered a top powerhouse. Fellow deist Xianqing, we are going to Tiandao City now. Ye Chen said via voice transmission. He moved towards Tiandao City at super fast speed. Ye Chen has not yet obtained the complete plane fragments, and currently cannot teleport directly to Tiandao City, but his speed is much faster than before. In 10 minutes, Ye Chen had entered Tiandao City. Compared with the original, Tiandao City is much more prosperous. In the past, Hong Jun and Pangu had many strong men scattered in different places in the Yanhuang plain to avoid being wiped out all at once. Now Hong Jun and Pangu's confidence has greatly increased. Ye Chen gave them a 9-star level time tower before and left them with a lot of resources. Their current strength is already in the late 9-star stage. This strength is weaker than the 9-star peak at their peak, but it is much more powerful than when Ye Chen first met them. From the other planes, even if a 9-star perfection level expert comes in, Pangu Hong Jun and the others are not afraid of each other now. Fellow Taoist Pangu, fellow Taoist Hong Jun. Ye Chen sent a message to Pangu and Hong Jun. Soon they appeared in front of Ye Chen to great surprise. Fellow Taoist Ye Chen, the plane rankings will be updated in 3 months. I thought you would be unable to catch up. Pangu laughed loudly. Ye Chen chuckled and said, I promised you to come back, so naturally I can't break my promise. I brought you 2 good things. Speaking of this, Ye Chen made the Pangu axe and the jade disc of good fortune appear. Pangu and Hong Jun immediately looked at their old buddy with great excitement. Fellow Taoist Ye Chen, we really don't know how to thank you. Hong Jun said. Ye Chen smiled and said, I have obtained the heart of Yanhuang, and I have obtained the greatest benefit. I should help you. There are still 3 months left, so hurry up and let them recognize their master again. Anyway, the plane ranking update will alarm the strong men in other planes, so why not simply let the plane rankings improve? Pangu and Hong Jun nodded solemnly. The stronger their strength is, the higher their plane ranking will be. By the way, I have something else to tell you. There is only 1 plane token fragment left that has not been obtained. My strength here has been doubled. Ye Chen said with a smile. Really? Pangu and Hong Jun were extremely excited. Ye Chen nodded. Hong Jun smiled and said, then this plane ranking update is extremely worth looking forward to. The Yanhuang plane already has a plane master. And you are super strong. Even if everything else is the same, the ranking of a plane with a master and a plane without a master will be very different. There are more than a dozen planes in the Alliance of Gods, and some of them must be worse than the Red Flame plane? Not necessarily. Some planes may have more powerful people than the Red Flame plane. But the Red Flame plane has a master. Therefore, the ranking of the Red Flame plane is around 2000. There are more than a dozen planes in the Celestial Alliance, but none of them is within the 2500. Fellow Taoist Pangu, fellow Taoist Hong Jun, you can enter the treasures in my space to practice. Time will accelerate faster. Ye Chen smiled. Pangu and Hong Jun nodded, they were too lazy to be polite to Ye Chen now. I already owe Ye Chen too much. And Ye Chen is already the master of the Yanhuang plane. For some of the remaining strong men, Ye Chen did not allow them to enter the treasures in their own space to practice. They have basically fully recovered. Their strength is not as strong as Pangu and Hong Jun, so it is much easier to recover. 2 months passed in the blink of an eye. Under the acceleration of time 200 million times, Xianqing Supreme has already adapted to the environment of the Yanhuang plane, and a powerful aura burst out from his body. It actually broke through, not bad. There was a faint smile on Ye Chen's face. Supreme Xuanqing's cultivation has reached the early stage of 8 stars. The gap between the perfect 7-star cultivation level and the early stage of 8-star cultivation is larger than a small realm. The combat power of Supreme Xianqing is close to the peak of 8-star cultivation. With his current 8-star early stage cultivation level, he would have no problem mastering an early 9-star offensive treasure. By then, the combat power will reach the peak of 8 stars. The treasure fusion progress of fellow deist Pangu and fellow deist Hungjun is also good. Before the plane ranking is updated, the strength should be fully restored. Yechen secretly thought. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Dit. Chapter 626. Fellow Taoist Pangu, Taoist Hungjun, you continue to practice, I will go back to my hometown. Notify me if anything happens. Yechen sent a message to Pangu and Hungjun. There is still a month until the plane rankings are updated. After he returns to Earth, he will speed up the flow of time. It is perfectly fine to go back. Fellow Taoist Yechen, please go back and rest in peace. We are already very strong now. Supreme Hungjun sent a message to Yechen, and Pangu also talked to Yechen. Not long after, Yechen arrived outside the solar system. I have been away for 9 years. After I left, the flow of time was adjusted to be 100 times slower. In fact, only 1 month has passed on the Earth. Yechen muttered in his heart. A faint smile appeared on his face. The last time he went back, he had shown his financial strength and greatly improved the lives of his parents and younger brother. This time when he goes back, Yechen plans to tell them more. It's time to stage the plot of the return of the immortal emperor. Yechen thought about it. In the blink of an eye, Yechen appeared on Yinchanj Street. His parents now live in Silver City. Master, Zijin community. Yechen got into the taxi and smiled. He didn't go directly to see his parents at home. He had just returned. It would be better to get used to it before going back. Beep, beep. Yechen dialed his father's phone number. Yezingguo picked up the phone and saw the word Big Cub displayed on it, and his eyes showed surprise. Yezingguo immediately answered the phone. Dad, I'm back. Are you at home? Yechen said with a smile. He left Yezingguo and the others a lot of money, and maybe they went on a trip. With Yechen's strength, it would be easy for him to know the current situation of Yezingguo and the others, but he didn't do that. Yezingguo took a deep breath. Son, come to the people's hospital. Yechen's expression changed. Did something happen to Yezingguo and the others? Although he said that even if Yezingguo and the others died, he could resurrect Yezingguo and the others, but he didn't want such a thing to happen. Dad, I'll be there soon. After Yechen finished speaking, he disappeared instantly. Ghost, ghost. The taxi driver suddenly braked, and in the rearview mirror, he saw Yechen disappearing. The driver saw $100 left on the seat. He parked the car close and checked the money carefully. It seemed to be real. There shouldn't be any ghosts in broad daylight. Could it be that you met an expert? The driver muttered to himself. He said this to comfort himself. At the provincial people's hospital, Yechen soon met his father. Dad, what's wrong? Are you guys okay? Yechen asked quickly. Yezingguo frowned and said, both your mother and I are fine, but Xiaodong is in some trouble. Someone rear-ended his car and was injured, and the other person's family keeps asking for trouble. Son, you'd better not get involved in this matter, or it will affect your work. At worst, we'll lose more money then. Yechen secretly thought that it was a good thing that he came back in time, otherwise his family would have to suffer this loss. Dad, don't worry, it won't affect my work. No matter who the other party is, our family is not afraid of him. Yechen said comfortingly. Just kidding, he is now the master of the Yanhuang Plain. Who can be better than him in the 3-acre land of the Yanhuang Plain? Son, the other party's family seems to be some kind of family. I heard Xiaodong say that we can't afford to offend such people, so Xiaodong and I came over today to visit the injured. Yezingguo rode. Ye Chen instantly understood that Ye Dong probably didn't want this matter to affect him, and was willing to suffer a little injustice. "Dad, let's go over and take a look," Ye Chen said. Ye Xingguo hesitated slightly and nodded, and he took Ye Chen outside the ward. "Go away, let my son get hurt, the matter won't be over until 20 million, you make plans to sell cars and houses. One less point, for a nouveau riche like yours, if our Sun family wanted to kill you, it would be absolutely easy." An arrogant voice came from the room. Ye Xingguo's face turned ugly. He pushed the door open and entered the room. "Just now you still asked for compensation of 10 million, and then it was raised to 20 million. At first, the Sun family asked Ye Dong to pay 5 million. Later, perhaps knowing that the Ye family had pretty good financial resources, they increased it to 10 million. Now there is another mention of 20 million. Brother, I got you into trouble." Ye Dong saw Ye Chen lowering his head and said embarrassedly. Ye Chen smiled and said, "Xiaodong, you were rear-ended, and you were not wrong. When something like this happened, did you understand that money is not everything?" Ye Dong smiled bitterly and nodded. The two villas were worth 50 million, and Ye Chen gave them a lot of money, but facing the pressure from the Sun family, Ye Dong and the others felt powerless. A middle-aged woman in the room said arrogantly, "Baby, you are sensible and know that money is not everything. Money is nothing in front of power. I advise you to pay the 20 million compensation quickly. By tomorrow it will be 30 million instead of 20 million. Ye Chen's eyes fell on the other party, and he instantly understood the other party's identity. The Sun family is just an ordinary martial arts family. Is it very powerful? Ye Chen said softly. The middle-aged woman shouted, "You actually know about the martial arts family. Our Sun family has acquired masters. Baby, do you think you can scare away our Sun family with just one word?" Joke. Ye Dong had read a lot of novels, and his expression changed slightly. "Brother, the acquired masters are quite powerful, aren't they? How about, forget it? I'll sell my villa and give them 20 million as compensation. Xingxin and I will then buy a smaller house that's warmer." The house is a wedding house, so Ye Dong is naturally reluctant to sell it, but he doesn't want Ye Chen to offend the martial arts family because of this matter. Ye Chen chuckled and said, "Xiaodong, ordinary martial arts families are nothing in my eyes. What the hell are acquired masters?" Now in Ye Chen's eyes, ordinary immortal level experts are all scum, and acquired level experts, this has to go back a long time. Before entering the Tianqian Emperor's palace, Ye Chen's cultivation was at the acquired level. "Xiaodong, let me help you upgrade to the innate level first." Ye Chen smiled. As he spoke, a trace of power entered Ye Dong's body, and in the blink of an eye, Ye Dong's whole body was transformed. Ye Dong reached the innate realm and directly reached the innate perfection. This kind of strength is much stronger than ordinary innate level characters. "Dad, I'll help you improve too." Ye Chen smiled. In the blink of an eye, Ye Xingguo also reached innate perfection. With Ye Chen's current strength, it would be no problem for Ye Xingguo and the others to become immortals directly, but there is no need to do so. It's better to let them gradually adapt to the strength. Ye Dong and Ye Xingguo looked at Ye Chen in shock. They could clearly feel the powerful power in their bodies. At the same time, they also gained a lot of combat experience. They clearly knew that they had innate Dzogchen level strength. "Brother, you..." Ye Dong swallowed, he couldn't believe it. "Just a moment ago, I was still an ordinary person, but in the blink of an eye, I had already achieved innate perfection." Ye Chen pointed to the young man lying on the bed. "Don't they want 20 million in compensation? You can pay 20 million. The young man lying on the bed laughed loudly. "You are going to humming kill me with laughter. You raised them to the innate level in an instant. Come on, Ye Dong, come and fight, show your innate power. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Di. Chapter 627. Yedong looked at Ye Chen in embarrassment. Although he had gained the innate strength of great perfection, his mentality could not change in a short time. Xiaodong, fight with confidence and boldness. I won't pay compensation for chasing you from the rear of your car, but I also ask you to pay 20 million yuan. It's too much to bully someone. Ye Chen said in a deep voice. Ye Dong said with a bitter face, brother, I don't dare to fight. If the beating is 20 million, then the person shouldn't be beaten to death directly. The young man on the bed sneered, Ye Dong, what's your brother's name? He's very good. Let him beat me. I want to see if he has the guts. You instantly elevate others to the innate level and think you are a god. The woman also said arrogantly, little brat, if you dare to hit me, I'll hit you now. If you don't dare, just make up for it. But it's not a matter of 20 million, it's 30 million. You have to pay for your arrogance. Ye Chen walked to the ward, and Ye Xingguo said nervously, son, don't mess around. It's against the law to hit someone. Ye Chen smiled at Ye Xingguo and said, Dad, don't worry, the law can't control me now. The young man lying on the bed said sarcastically, pretend, keep pretending, if you have the guts, do it immediately, otherwise I will look down on you. He has a certain level of cultivation, but he is not at the acquired level. It is impossible to tell that Ye Xingguo and the others have reached the innate perfection. Otherwise, he would never dare to be so arrogant. Crack. Ye Chen seemed to have lightly slapped the opponent's left leg, and the sound of fracture suddenly sounded, and the young man lying on the bed screamed in agony. Ah! The piercing screams resounded in the ward and could not be heard outside the ward. Crack! Ye Chen gently slapped the young man's other leg off again. His face turned pale and he fainted from the pain. Stop, stop. Stop it, little bastard, our Sun family has some acquired powerhouses, and our Sun family's assets exceed 1 billion. The woman screamed and rushed towards Ye Chen. Certainly. Ye Chen said softly, and the woman who rushed over immediately became motionless. Ah! Ye Chen continued to attack, and the bones in the hand of the young man lying on the bed were also broken. His body twitched and he woke up from the pain. Wake up, coma, wake up, coma. In just 2 minutes, 70% to 80% of the bones in this young man's body were broken. It was impossible to find any way to cure him. At first, his eyes were full of anger, but in the end, there was only boundless fear and despair in his eyes. I feel like it's not even enough for 20 million to be beaten like this. Are you two getting it together? Ye Chen's eyes fell on the middle-aged woman. The middle-aged woman couldn't speak just now, but now she suddenly felt that she could speak. She quickly screamed, no more, we don't want the money. Ye Chen said calmly, this is what you said. Yes, I said so. The woman said in horror. Ye Chen actually pinned her directly. What kind of ability is this? He is capable and ruthless. The Sun family cannot afford to offend such a person. Dad, Xiaodong, the matter is settled, let's go. Ye Chen smiled. Ye Xingguo and Ye Dong followed Ye Chen out of the ward in a daze. Son, how are you? Son. The woman rushed to the side of the ward and said. The young man lying on the bed said in great pain, Mom, it hurts too much. I'm in too much pain. Call the doctor quickly and give me painkillers. Also, call the police. The woman was startled. Usually it was her family that took advantage, so she had never thought of calling the police just now. Oh! A cold light flashed in Ye Chen's eyes, and with the thought, he instantly transferred the mother and son directly to a large ice floe in the North Pole. There is no signal here, but there are hungry polar bears. Okay, so cold. Where are we? The mother and son shuddered, and they soon spotted the polar bear. Hungry polar bears also discovered them. Yezingguo and Yedong followed Yechen back home silently. Yedong's car was sent for repair, and they came back by taxi. "Son, what's going on? How come I suddenly have innate Dzogchen level strength?" Yezingguo clenched his fist and said, he felt that his body contained extremely powerful power, and he could kill a tiger with one punch. "Dad, I also have innate Dzogchen level strength," Yedong said. Yechen smiled and said, "Xiaodong, have you read novels like Return of the Immortal Emperor?" Yedong was startled. He nodded quickly, "Brother, don't tell me that you have returned as the Immortal Emperor." Yechen said with a smile, "It's not that the Immortal Emperor has returned, but it's almost the same. You can understand it this way. No one in the entire earth is stronger than me now. Your and Dad's current strength is also ranked among the best on earth." Yechen discovered that there are warriors and low-level practitioners on the earth, and the strongest ones have reached the golden elixir level. To ordinary people, this is already a land god. Yezingguo and Yedong looked at Yechen in disbelief. Yechen joined a secret national research institution and made a fortune. They could still understand it, but now this is unbelievable. "Dad, Xiaodong, I encountered a strange encounter and embarked on the path of cultivating immortality. You should adapt to your current strength and change your mentality. Then I can make you stronger." Yechen smiled. Yezingguo nodded, "Son, wait for your mother and Xingxin to come back, help them improve their strength." "Okay." Yechen smiled. Even if Yezingguo didn't mention it, he would naturally help his mother and Song Xian to improve. Yedong said, "Brother, you are so powerful, didn't you find a sister-in-law for me?" "I found one. But it's not convenient to bring her back for now, wait a while." Yechen smiled. He felt a little strange in his heart. If Luo Hongjian and the others came back together, Yezingguo and the others would be scared. "Son, have you found a girlfriend? Then you have to bring her back to Mom as soon as possible." Xuanhuan and Song Xian also went home at this time. Not long after, Yechen helped Xuanhuan and Song Xian to improve to the innate great perfection. Time passed day by day. In just half a year, Yezingguo and the others adapted a lot, and Yechen raised the strength of Yezingguo and the others to the golden elixir level. "Daiyu Yechen, there is something going on. Many strong men from the Heavenly God Alliance have entered the Red Flame Plane. We suspect that there are already powerful men from the Light Plane or the Abyss Plane outside the Yanhuang Plane." Hung Jun's voice rang in Yechen's mind. He is now in the universe where the Earth is, but not on the Earth side. "Mom and Dad, I have something to do, so I have to leave first. Take care of yourselves," Yechen said to his parents and disappeared in an instant. "Daiyu Hung Jun, have the strong men from the Heavenly God Alliance been caught?" Yechen smiled. Hung Jun smiled and nodded, "Most of them have been caught, and a few have not been caught yet, but they can't run away. The most powerful man in the Heavenly God Alliance is only a 7-star immortal level strong man, which is a huge gap compared to Hung Jun and the others now. Daiyu Yechen, we didn't intend to alarm you, but the strong man from the light plane is coming, maybe you can trade for the last plane fragment." Yechen's eyes flashed, it would be best if he could trade now. He can get all the plane fragments. If the Yanhuang plane is updated, the plane ranking can be higher. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Di. Chapter 628. Half a year has passed on the Earth, and only 1 or 2 days have passed in the actual outside world. There is still nearly a month until the plane rankings are updated. Hung Jun said, "Fellow Taoist Yechen, the current Lord of Light or other powerful people in the Light Plane must not know that you were from the Yanhuang Plane in your previous life. It's impossible for them to judge that you are already the master of the Yanhuang Plane." Yechen nodded slightly. If a strong man from the Light Plane brought the plane fragments over, he would be more likely to trade them now. After the plane rankings were exposed, the Lord of Light and the others probably judged that he had become the master of the Xuanhuan plane. It's hard to say how much affection the Lord of Light has for Aphra. If feelings are enough, everything will be easy to say. If it's not enough, after it is revealed that he is the master of the Xuanhuan plane, the master of light may not be willing to exchange Aphra. Whether he gets all the plane token fragments has a great impact. The first is the influence of his strength in the Xuanhuan plane. With the plane token intact, his strength will definitely increase even more. Secondly, only by obtaining all the plane fragments can he establish a channel with the red flame plane, and the two planes can begin to merge. In addition, with the plane token complete, he can easily monitor the entire Xuanhuan plane and move quickly within the Xuanhuan plane. Fellow deist Hung-jun, a strong man from the light plane, should also know that the rankings of the Xuanhuan plane will be updated soon. Ye Chen frowned. Hung-jun nodded slightly, yes, so they may propose that the transaction will be done after the ranking of the Xuanhuan plane is updated. You may not be able to get the last plane fragment, but you can give it a try. Ye Chen nodded. Okay, I'll go out and take a look. Ye Chen said that he directly tore open the space, and he arrived outside the Xuanhuan plane. Friends from the plane of light, if you are here, please let me know. Ye Chen said, his voice spread far away. Ye Chen. I, the Lord of Light, want to use the last plane token fragment to trade with you for the strong man from the light plane who was captured by you. A dull voice came from afar. From this voice, Ye Chen couldn't hear any joy. Are you the Lord of Light? How to prove it? Ye Chen was a little surprised and said that the Lord of Light actually came in person. Boom. An extremely terrifying smell came from the distance. This aura is perfectly complete with 9 stars, and contains extremely pure and powerful light power. He is truly the Lord of Light. Ye Chen secretly thought. System, can you sense the system of the Lord of Light? What kind of system does he have? Ye Chen asked in his mind. No one knows what kind of 10-star system the Lord of Light has. Even Aphra doesn't know the secret. Not sure. The system is simple and authentic. It didn't exist when the light plane and the Xuanhuan plane fought. The heart of Xuanhuan was created by the desperate collective sacrifice of a large number of strong men from the Xuanhuan plane at the end of the war. Lord of Light, do you think it's possible to use a mere plane token fragment to exchange for many powerful people in the light plane? Ye Chen sneered. The Lord of Light was silent for a long time. Ye Chen, I will exchange that plane token fragment for Aphra. If you still refuse, the transaction will be permanently cancelled. This time, Ye Chen was silent. After a long time, Ye Chen finally said, okay, I agree to this transaction. Where are the plane token fragments? The Lord of Light took out the plane token fragments. Ye Chen immediately sensed the aura of the plane token fragment. It's the last fragment. Where's Aphra? Let Aphra speak to me. I must make sure she is safe. The voice of the Lord of Light came over. Ye Chen's eyes flashed. Lord of Light, what you have is not a 10-star immortal attack system, right? You communicate with Aphra to confirm my identity, and then use the system to attack me immediately. In the distance, the Lord of Light narrowed his eyes. This was indeed his plan. It was actually exposed directly by Ye Chen. Lord of Light, I will determine the rules of the transaction. Have someone bring that plane token fragment to the Xuanhuan plane. If I am sure it is correct, release Aphra. Ye Chen said solemnly, I swear by the law of heaven, apart from losing the system and the treasure, Aphra is fine now. And as long as I receive something, I will definitely release Aphra. As Ye Chen said this, he quietly asked me to withdraw to the Xuanhuan plane. He only left his clone outside. The Lord of Light actually came here in person. He is outside, so there is a certain risk. Although he has a 9-star perfection level substitute puppet, this thing is extremely precious, and he will not consume it if he can. Ye Chen, do you think I will believe your oath of heaven? To a strong man like you and me, the way of heaven is nothing. The Lord of Light said in a deep voice. Ye Chen's clone said, Lord of Light, Hanjian and the others don't have children yet. If what I just said is true, I will have no descendants. If you don't believe this oath, it's better to give up the deal. You have 3 days to think about it. After saying that, Ye Chen's clone also entered the Yanhuang plain. The eyes of the distant light master flickered. He didn't believe Ye Chen's heavenly oath at all, but the Lord of Light believed in the poisonous oath he swore later. Ye Chen and Luo Hanjian have a very good relationship. In this case, Ye Chen definitely hopes to have children with Luo Hanjian. Although it is not that Ye Chen's oath will definitely come true, Ye Chen should not joke with his descendants. What do you think? The Lord of Light glanced at Theodore and other strong men. Theodore and other strong men in the light plane have evacuated from the abyss plane. Liwen Emperor and Deep Space Supreme have both fallen into Ye Chen's hands. The abyss plane is no longer safe for them. Lord, is Ye Chen's support for the Yanhuang plane too much? Theodore frowned. Hung Jun and the others must have improved their strength a lot. Maybe Hung Jun or Pangu, they have already obtained the plane token. Another strong man said, Lord, if Hung Jun or Pangu's strength has improved, and Ye Chen returns the plane token to them, doesn't Ye Chen worry about his own safety? Hung Jun or Pangu may seize his 10-star system. The other strong men nodded. This is entirely possible. If Hung Jun or Pangu's strength is restored to the 9-star level, and they obtain the plane token, their strength in the Yanhuang plane can definitely reach the 9-star perfection. Or even stronger. Master, is there a possibility that Ye Chen wants to obtain the plane token fragment for his own use, and he becomes the master of the Yanhuang plane? Someone said weakly. The strong man who spoke only had 8-star perfection and 9-star initial strength. Impossible, Ye Chen is not from the Yanhuang plane, and it is thousands of times more difficult for him to make the Yanhuang plane token recognize him as the master. Theodore said in a deep voice. The Lord of Light narrowed his eyes. Theodore, you are arbitrary. Such a possibility exists, and it is not low. Suspicion 1, Ye Chen is not the Lord of the Xian plane, but let Luo Hanjian become the Lord. Suspicion 2, where does that 10-star system come from? Theodore's heart was shocked. Lord, you mean that the 10-star system may come from the Yanhuang plane? Ye Chen may also come from the Yanhuang plane. Is he reincarnated? Theodore took a deep breath. If so, it is entirely possible that Ye Chen becomes the Lord of the Yanhuang plane. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Dit. Chapter 629. After some analysis by the Lord of Light, they really analyzed Ye Chen's situation. Although they are not 100% sure, they basically agree with this analysis result. Lord, no matter what you plan to do, we support you. Theodore said. It was analyzed that Ye Chen might be reborn and might become the master of the Yanhuang plane. Theodore felt a little embarrassed. The Lord of Light definitely intends to redeem Aphra, but the results of this analysis do not support the redemption of Aphra. Apart from the emotional factors, even if Aphra is not redeemed, they cannot let Ye Chen get the last plane token fragment. If Ye Chen becomes the master of the Yanhuang plane, the ranking of the Yanhuang plane will be higher, and it will be more difficult for them to kill Ye Chen. Another strong man said, Master, I think it's time to redeem yourself. Our opponent is not just Ye Chen, not just the Yanhuang plane. Lord Aphra is a 9-star perfectionist. Apart from you, we are the only 9-star perfectionist in our light plane. If she doesn't redeem him, many strong men may feel uneasy. Theodore quickly said, Master, Even if Ye Chen becomes the master of the Yanhuang plane, we will still have a chance to kill him in the future. But if fellow Taoist Afra dies, he will not be able to come back. The other strong men all spoke up and supported the redemption of Afra. The Lord of Light said solemnly, "Since you all agree on redemption, then redeem Afra." Theodore breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, it was saved. I actually made a mistake just now, thinking that the Lord of Light really wanted them to analyze. In fact, the Lord of Light just asked them to find a reason to redeem Afra. There are many strong men in the light plane who fell into Ye Chen's hands and simply redeemed Afra, and the Lord of Light would probably feel bad about it. You enter the Yanhuang plane. The Lord of Light quickly ordered a 7-star immortal level powerhouse to take action. Yes, Lord. Carrying the fragments of the plane token, this 7-star non-returning level expert quickly entered the Yanhuang plane. Ye Chen immediately discovered the other party. At the same time, through the plane token, Ye Chen also determined that the last plane token fragment was on him. The relationship between the Lord of Light and Afra seems to be okay. Ye Chen secretly thought. In his estimation, the possibility of the Lord of Light redeeming Afra is still relatively high. On the one hand, there should be a certain amount of affection, and on the other hand, Afra is a 9-star perfectionist. Fellow Taoist Ye Chen, I sense that a powerful person has entered the light plane. Pangu sent a message to Ye Chendao. Ye Chen sent a message, fellow Taoist Pangu, I also discovered it. You go over and take him to Tiandao City. On the way here, you got the Yanhuang plane token fragments from the other party. After meeting me and Hung Jun, you gave the plane token fragments to fellow Taoist Hung Jun. Pangu instantly understood what Ye Chen meant. Ye Chen wanted the Lord of Light to misunderstand them and make them think that the ruler of the Yanhuang plane was not Ye Chen but Hung Jun. Good. Pangu replied. If the strong people in the light plane underestimate them and enter the Yanhuang plane in the next period of time, that would be quite good. However, the possibility of trapping them in this way is low. Even if the Lords of Light want to take action, they will definitely wait until the plane rankings of the Yanhuang plane are updated. Based on the rankings in the Yanhuang plane, they should be able to tell that the master is Ye Chen and not Hung Jun. By the way, fellow Daoist Pangu, you show your peak 9-star strength. Ye Chen said. 10 minutes later, Pangu arrived near the 7-star immortal powerhouse who had entered the light plane, and a terrifying aura overwhelmed him. 9-star late stage, no, this should be the aura of the peak 9-star level. Pangu's strength has been fully restored. The other party's expression changed. Pangu's overbearing voice sounded, you are the only one coming in from the light plane? Throw the token fragments from the Yanhuang plane over first. Pangu, I will enter. The plane token fragment cannot be handed over to you, it must be handed over to Ye Chen. The strong man from the light plane who entered said in a deep voice. Come over. Pangu took action. The powerful force sucked in the 7-star immortal powerhouse from the light plane. Walk. With this 7-star immortal powerhouse, Pangu left quickly. Take out the fragments of the Yanhuang plane token, otherwise I will kill you with an axe. Pangu threatened. No. The strong man in the light plane insisted, if it is not given to Ye Chen, what will happen if Ye Chen makes excuses not to let him go? Brainless. Pangu cursed and took this guy back to Tiandao City. Before returning to Tiandao City, Pangu naturally told Ye Chen the situation. Fellow Taoist Ye Chen, fellow Taoist Hung Jun. This guy is from the light plane, but it's not clear whether he has fragments of the Yanhuang plane token on him. Pangu rode. He said and looked at Hung Jun, and Ye Chen also looked at Hung Jun. Hung Jun smiled and said, the fragments of the Yanhuang plane token are indeed on him. Ye Chen, here's something for you. Let him go immediately. A 7-star immortal powerhouse from the light plane said in a deep voice. Fragments of the Yanhuang plane token appeared in his hand and he threw them to Ye Chen. Ye Chen caught the plane token fragment with a faint smile on his face. Since you gave me something, I will naturally let you go. Ye Chen said. He said and directly asked the goddess of light Afra to come outside. Afra has reached 9-star cultivation, but now that the treasure has been disowned and lost, her current combat power is only at the peak of 9 stars. Fellow deist Afra, if I catch you next time, you won't have such good luck. You from the light plane had better not provoke us from the Yanhuang plane. Ye Chen said calmly. Afra said in a deep voice, Ye Chen, where are the other strong men in our light plane? You release them all. We in the light plane can no longer cause trouble to you in the Yanhuang plane in the future. Ye Chen sneered and said, it's just a fragment of the Yanhuang plane token. I already feel like I'm losing money by redeeming you to this seat. Do you still want to redeem the other strong men from your light plane? Funny. Afra said in a deep voice, Ye Chen, how can we redeem them? Ye Chen's eyes flashed, it's not impossible to redeem them. You can redeem them using the 7, 8, or 9 level system. 2 9-star level systems can redeem a 9-star level powerhouse, and the same goes for 7-star and 8-star level powerhouses. 5 redemptions. Whatever level of system you give me, I will release your level of powerhouse. It's up to me to decide who will be released. Afra frowned, the 2 systems redeemed 1 person, but Ye Chen was not as open-minded about the redemption price. But it is up to Ye Chen to decide who will be redeemed, so they cannot redeem the strong person who wants to be redeemed the most. Like 9-star level strong men, Ye Chen captured characters in the early 9-star stage as well as those in the late 9-star stage. It is naturally more cost-effective to redeem a strong man in the late 9-star stage than in the early 9-star stage. Ye Chen, for every 2, you designate 1 and we designate 1. That's only fair. Afra said in a deep voice. Ye Chen shook his head, they are my hostages, I determine the rules. Afra frowned and said, Ye Chen, if you do this, you may not get any benefits. If you kill them, you will only completely anger us. Ye Chen said with a smile, as time goes on, if they are not rescued, they will have ideas. If I tell them then that they can survive as long as they kill one of their companions, do you think they will be moved? Afra's expression changed. If Ye Chen did this, it was very likely that strong men from the light plane would fall to Ye Chen and the others. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Dit. Chapter 630. Without saying anything more to Ye Chen, Afra and the 7-star immortal powerhouse left quickly. Fellow Taoist Ye Chen, congratulations. Pangu said with a smile. Hung Jun said happily, fellow Taoist Pangu, Taoist Ye Chen has obtained all the plane token fragments, we have to call the master. Meet the Lord. Pangu Gong Xiao Tao. Ye Chen said angrily, fellow Taoist Pangu, Taoist Hung Jun, it would be better for you to call me this way now. Although I am the master of the Yanhuang plane, you are not my subordinates. We are partners and friends. Pangu and Hung Jun smiled and nodded. You guys are staring at the situation in the Yanhuang plane. I have to practice and seize the time to completely integrate the plane tokens. After saying that, Ye Chen disappeared. He arrived inside the time cube and directly adjusted the time flow rate to the highest 1 billion times. A lot of resources are wasted in this way, but if you are in a hurry, waste as much resources as you can. Outside the Yanhuang plane, Afra and the others did not immediately join the Lord of Light and the others, but left the Yanhuang plane far away. Holy Lord! After leaving far away, Afra saw the Lord of Light. The Lord of Light is naturally much stronger than the saint, but Afra married the Lord of Light when he was a saint. She has always been called Shenjun. Afra, let me check you first to make sure Ye Chen is not up to something. Light rules the way. Afra nodded slightly. She herself was actually sure of it, but since it had been in Ye Chen's hands for so long, it was normal for the Lord of Light to be worried like this. Half an hour later, the Lord of Light inspected Afra thoroughly and found no problems. Afra, what kind of strength do Hung-jun and the others have now? The Lord of Light asked. Afra said, they are now at the peak 9-star level. The 7-star immortal powerhouse said, Lord Master, I entered, and it was Pangu who discovered me. After arriving at Tiandao City, Pangu said he didn't know if I had the plane token fragments. He and Yechen both looked at Hung-jun. The eyes of the Lord of Light flickered. With Hung-jun's 9-star peak strength, the probability that he is the Lord of the Yanhuang plane is not low. But it's more likely that they were just acting. The master of the plane is Yechen. Yechen has a 10-star immortal system, and Hung-jun's strength is so strong that it is likely to surpass Yechen if it increases further. Isn't Yechen worried? It is indeed more likely that the master of the plane is Yechen, but there is also a certain possibility that Hung-jun is the master of the Yanhuang plane. Afra said, Holy Lord, Yechen proposed our plan to redeem people. After hearing what Afra said, the Lord of Light looked gloomy. Yechen forced them to redeem people from the light plane. If he doesn't redeem his people, Yechen may really let the strong men in the light plane kill each other and make them betray the light plane. Theodore frowned and said, Master, if we don't redeem them, on the one hand, our strength will be much weaker. On the other hand, they can fully display their strength in the light plane. If they fall to Yechen, the consequences will be serious. Although Yechen said he was forcing us to redeem people, the conditions for two systems of the same level to redeem one person are not very harsh. Afra nodded. Some other strong men around also agreed. Including the Holy Word Supreme, they have a total of 6 9-star immortal level experts in Yechen's hands, as well as many 7 or 8-star level experts. The Lord of Light frowned secretly. The plane of light has existed for a long time, and they have a 7-8 or 9-star level system that they have not recognized as their master. If they think about other ways, such as trading with other planes, they can completely obtain the system Yechen needs. But the Lord of Light is a little worried. Yechen and the others became stronger after getting this batch of systems. Maybe they will counterattack their light plane in the future. Holy Lord, our enemies are not just Yechen and the others. If we damage the Holy Word Supreme and other powerful people, their strength will be reduced a lot, and it may make people unstable. Afra said. The Lord of Light nodded slightly. Although the trade will enhance the strength of Yechen and the others, it will also be good for them if he trades the Holy Word Supreme and the others back. Withdraw, go back first. Light rules the way. For the time being, he has no idea of entering the Yanhuang plane to deal with Yechen and the others. The risk is too great. Although he has the strength of the 9-star perfection level, he has not entered the Yanhuang plane for a long time. Now that he has entered, his strength is estimated to be in the middle of the 9-star level. At most late 9-star stage. With such strength, even if Yechen and the others do not gain strength, he still cannot defeat Yechen, Hung-jun, Pangu, and the others. With time accelerating a billion times, Yechen practiced with all his strength and integrated the plane tokens with all his strength. 3 days before the Yanhuang plane rankings were announced, Yechen finally made the Yanhuang plane tokens completely combined. 3 times the increase, not bad. A smile appeared on Yechen's face. His strength has increased 3-fold. In the Yanhuang plane, he alone can equal 3 9-star perfect experts. Coupled with Xiaoliu, Yanhuang Eternal City, Tongtian Sword, and Bamboo, Pangu at the peak of 9 stars, Hung-jun, and the Purifying Sunflower, the Lord of Light will only be beaten if they enter. Fellow Taoist Yechen, is it done? Fellow Taoist Yechen, is the integration completed? Hung-jun and Pangu both sent a message to Yechen. The plane tokens were successfully integrated, and the entire Yanhuang plane was colorful. The rules of heaven and earth in the Yanhuang plane were more active. It will be easier for the strong men in the Yanhuang plane to break through in the future. Yes, the plane tokens have been completely integrated. Ye Chen paused his practice and went outside. 3 days will pass in a blink of an eye. Not only Ye Chen and his team, but many other strong men in the plains are paying attention to the situation in the Yanhuang plain. Although Ye Chen helped the Yanhuang plain, the time is short. The ranking of the Yanhuang plain should not be improved too much, right? It is estimated to be around 1,000. It depends on whether Ye Chen is generous. If he is more generous, it may be 500. Many strong men in the plains estimated. The ranking of the Yanhuang plain has soared from the bottom to 510,000, which is already a huge improvement in their opinion. What do you think the ranking of the Yanhuang plain can reach? The Lord of Light said in a deep voice. They were standing in front of a huge crystal wall. This crystal wall was the Chaos Wall. It had only one function, which was to display the plain ranking. No one knew where this thing came from. They only knew that the Chaos Wall was indestructible. Many strong men tried to use the Chaos Wall to refine treasures, but all failed. This thing could not be refined at all. It is rumored that the Chaos Wall hides the mysteries of heaven and earth. As long as you understand the Chaos Wall, you can break through the 9 stars immortality. Become a supreme strong man. Afra said, Ye Chen is likely to be related to the Yanhuang plain. His strength is strong, which will greatly improve the ranking of the Yanhuang plain. In addition, with the recovery of the strength of Hung Jun Pangu and other strong men, I think the ranking of the Yanhuang plain will definitely be in the top 100. It may even be in the top 50. Theodore said, Ye Chen and his top strong men are strong, but the Yanhuang plain is now weak, and the middle and low levels are not good. I estimate it to be around 60 or 70. Some other strong men also spoke up. Their estimate of the ranking of the Yanhuang plain is between 30th and 100th. The Lord of Light said in a deep voice, You have ignored Ye Chen's system? If Ye Chen's system comes from the Yanhuang plain, the ranking of the Yanhuang plain is likely to exceed your estimate. In the Yanhuang plain, Ye Chen and his team also stood in front of a Chaos Wall. There are quite a few Chaos Walls, and this thing has no other value, so not many strong people are fighting for it. I don't know if it can be in the top 10. Ye Chen thought to himself. His system is the heart of Yanhuang, and he has successfully merged the plain token.